I don't know if you're aware, but this is incendiary. Incendiary.
It is Friday, April the 8th, 2022 at 10:41 a.m. here locally in Tacoma, Washington. This is the OneHiraethProject's DiaryCast number 34, entitled Incendiary. This week held an incredible number of synchronicities and connections of all kinds to me, from me, between me and others, between me and that which lies beyond, to such a degree that I had to choose what I was going to talk about this week. I have to admit that many of them were personal and considerably confidential, so I will keep those to myself. But I'm going to focus on two. Let me share the first one. On Monday, April 4th, at approximately noon, I was sitting at my computer in the living room of this place where I'm house sitting in Tacoma, and this giant crash took place to my left. I happened to be sitting near a window with the blinds open, so I saw something pass my view, but I had no idea what it was. I knew the winds had picked up, but this is Tacoma, and all along the Pacific Northwest, there's always a lot of that going on. So I didn't really pay much mind to it until I heard the crash. I immediately looked out the window, saw what I thought was an entire tree now lying in the full side yard between this property and the one next door. So I grabbed my video camera and took some shots because I wanted to make sure the homeowner was aware as quickly as I had been what had occurred. What you're now going to hear is part of that video. Hi, I wanted to send this to you. The wind is really bad, and seconds ago, a tree fell on the side of your house. I just happened to be sitting on the couch in the living room doing some work, and there it is. I'm sure it can wait until you get back to deal with, but I wanted you to see it. I will take better video if you would like, after the storm, but it's taken up the whole side yard. Okay, there you go. Okay, here's where it came from, on this tree, and here is where it is in your yard. I'm taking this from the back porch to the best of my ability. And again, when the weather clears a little bit, I will send you more. But it's taking up the whole side yard. Let me know what, if anything, you want me to do now. I'm assuming for the most part I'm referring to do you want me to talk to the neighbors? Is there someone you want me to call? And I'm here if you need anything. Next, I went outside and took a few photos. I'll share them here. Being a homeowner on Long Island for more than 20 years, I know the necessity of that kind of documentation, whether it be for insurance purposes or repair and recovery purposes. It was a must. Let me be fully transparent here and share with you that my neighbors on Long Island to the east of our property were always just meddlers. I don't know how else to express it. And they were always up in our business. So had this happened there, even if it was on the other side, the west side of the property, I'm sure they would have been knocking on the door, asking me what we were going to do, complaining about something, even if it was just pine needles in the street. So in order to avoid that kind of potential here, I wanted to do what I felt was the right thing and inform the homeowner. I have to also be completely transparent and tell you that as this whole thing unfolded, the neighbors next door were so sweet. The male of the couple that lives next door, his name was Adron, Adron. And I know that because he made a special point of bringing that to my attention. The first time he saw me when I was in the kitchen of this place, just doing the dishes and minding my own business, and he comes out on his side porch from a door that is on the side of their home to smoke a cigarette, and he waves at me and he goes, "Come out." So I go out to the porch on the back, and he introduces himself, and he said, "It's nice to meet you again." And I thought that's so odd. And I said, "Have we met before?" And he shakes his head, "Yes." And I said, "Well, I did see you in the window the other day, but my name is Barbara." And I don't know if he was referring to that or something else. I thought the whole thing was just mystical. But hey, this is my life you're talking about. So after I took the pictures, later on that afternoon, I went over to their home and knocked on the door. Nobody answered. Then I heard someone outside the property, went outside, and sure enough, he and his wife, and it appeared to be a few relatives, were right outside talking around their vehicle parked in the street. I called his attention over and told him what happened, and he just chuckled and was so sweet, gave me one of those, hand gestures where you just say, "Oh, never mind about it." When you bring your hand up to your face and just quickly swat forward. And he said, "Hey, Marcy and I have been friends for years. She's my buddy. I don't have any worries that this will be taken care of, and tell her I said hi." That was it. And he waves at me and just keeps walking on. I wish that I would have had that neighbor at my house on Long Island all of those years. Now back to the story. The next thing that happened was shortly thereafter, I sit down to have a quick lunch. Some fruit, a couple of crackers, watching a video that I hadn't had an opportunity to check out yet. It was from the YouTube channel called SonOfSelene, and for anyone who follows him on YouTube, his former name was Scarlet Moon. It blew my mind what he said in this Aquarius weekly reading. Apparently he'd posted it the Saturday before, which was still part of this DiaryCast period, would have been the 2nd of April, and he nailed what happened next door. Let me share that with you here.
This week, your big spiritual theme or the big focus is the Hierophant reversed. And you're going to be noticing that you're getting kind of dropped in foreign territory, or foreign territory is getting dropped on you.
He goes on to talk about the wind.
When it comes to your communications or community, friends, relatives, news from other people in your life, you've got the Three of Wands upright. And something that you have been working on with a friend, something you've been working on with an ally. This could be a professional collaborator. This could be a family alliance. This could be another household. Or this could be something that you've got going on with a friend as a bit of a pet project, is really taking off. And this could be something that was going slow that has now suddenly just picked up a new speed. Or this could be a big break that you are all getting because of something that has changed in the way the wind was blowing. The Three of Wands is all about expectations manifesting, and it could actually be some of you are getting brilliant news from a friend or from an ally that you guys have both won. You have won. You have succeeded. Something that has maybe been an underdog even is going to finally have its big break.
What surprised me about this whole event was how it fell into place with those things that were to follow in the days to come. Again, most of them too private to those individuals with whom they are related to share here. But those people will know who they are if they ever happen to come across this DiaryCast. But look at where I'll call it a tree, but as you can see from the video just shared, it was literally just a giant branch on a bigger tree. It fell exactly between the properties. It didn't damage this one. It didn't damage the other one. It didn't even hurt the fence between the two properties. The only thing that got destroyed was the fence between the front and backyards on this property. Now imagine how incredible that really is. Perfectly falling between the two as if to make a noise, create a vibration, demonstrate force, or to bring attention to it, but not damage anything that has significance. The second point of interest is that the homeowner told me in a long text exchange that I'm sure you can only imagine. She said she's lived here for over 20 years and not once has this occurred. Yet this is when it happened, on my watch. Now let me go on. On the 7th of April, I received a package. It was a gift from the woman whose name is Chrissie, who owns an Etsy site called Rocks and Scents, SCENTS. I'm going to share here the text messages that she posted letting me know that this gift was on its way. Now, interestingly enough, it took more than a week to get here and kind of got lost in transit as it was making its way here and disappeared from the tracking system for 3 days. But again, with me, everything comes in divine timing. So I wake up and poof, there it is. I get a notification on my phone that the package will arrive today. So it goes from being lost to not only being found, but on its way to me via the delivery truck. You may recall from an earlier DiaryCast, I think it might have been number 29, I talk about a prophecy stone that I sent to a friend of mine, and in the same time got a gift from this same woman of a seer's stone. And during that DiaryCast period, some other miraculous things occurred, connecting that stone that I received from her with the individual that I had sent the prophecy stone to. I shared that story with her in confidence because she is not only a wonderful person, but it was such a unique circumstance that, masking the confidential parts of the story so that she could understand the genuine value that her services, her gifts, her just being in this world offer people like me, and how much I appreciated that. Because that meant the world to her, unbeknownst to me, she'd kept her eye out for just the right prophecy stone to send me. She waited to find one that had just the right look and feel to offer me an experience that she felt might even enhance further the one I had prior. And she found one, and she said that she didn't clear its energy in any different way than she would any other, but she did then put it through a series of tests or rituals that she does for her own collections personally, so that it could be infused with all the positivity she felt she was able to offer me in this gift. So the gift not only was the physical prophecy stone itself, but it was the energy that came from it. Who could ask for anything more interesting and exciting? So it arrives. I didn't clear its energy, as I usually do when I get new stones, because I have no idea whose hands they've been in, where they've traveled, and what might be attached to them. Of course, I did go ahead and wash it with water and a gentle soap, just to remove any dust and debris that might have been associated with its transport. I sat quietly with it in my hand, rolling it back and forth between my two palms, for quite some time that evening. Before bed, I placed it on a side table, put my head to pillow, and fell asleep. The next morning was crazy. First, I had so many vivid dreams, I couldn't even capture them all when I awoke the next morning, grabbed my phone, turned on my audio recorder, and began to speak. There were just so many I wanted to capture because I had no idea what they might relate to later on. Maybe nothing, but because I have found that so many of them actually do come to fruition, and I love to have that personal evidence in hand just for my own edification and continued graduate program into the unknown, I began to speak. That morning, amazing knowings just fell into my mind. So much so that there were two people I knew that I wanted to reach out to. One was a longtime client of mine that I do consulting services for. We've been friends and work colleagues for more than 15 years. The other is a relative of mine that I don't want to identify any further than that because I want to keep this individual's identity anonymous. So what I did was I reached out to the first one. We had a short telephone conversation. I encouraged this individual, the one I'm a consultant for, to record it because I thought there might be information there he might find of value. So he did. Comes to be that later on that evening, he reaches out to me, shocked, and tells me the story of how, symbolically anyway, what I shared with him that morning actually came into his day-to-day. And it was so uplifting to me to have been able to offer that to him. The second conversation was done through Facebook Messenger voice call. And when we did, I too shared insights that had come to me that I felt were directly related to her. What I came to find was that the timing was perfect because she had been wondering how to handle certain things, and this information that I shared with her actually was an answer. But again, symbolically, we broke it down, we figured out what the potential options could be, and then I left it to her own devices to figure out how she wanted to move from there. But when I finished with all of that, again, in the late hours of what turned out to be yesterday, April 7th, the final day of the DiaryCast period, I realized that what Nico had said came to be. And the crashing down of the tree that did no damage but definitely shook the energy around me. And again, I'm speaking symbolically, but that is how I look at the world, because through that lens, I'm able to connect to this more that I so often talk about. Where I'm going with this is just something simple. Looking at everything that has transpired in this last DiaryCast period, especially that from the 4th forward, I was given a breath of fresh air. I was lifted up to further confirm that the way in which I've chosen to live my life is serving me in ways that I don't need to prove to anyone, but at the same time, when I'm able to offer information to others that I think might be receptive enough to receive, I'm being given benefit. And the universe speaks to me in ways that sometimes are incendiary. And for this week, I will leave it there.